Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today I'll be showing you how you can make your own trigger repeat node in Unreal MetaSounds. Now the reason why I'm making this video is that because the default trigger repeat comes with a feature that might not always be wanted, and that is the following. Right now I have a clap sound that plays with the trigger repeat node, and this one is set to a period of 1 second, meaning that every 1 second we should hear a clap sound. Now that works if I turn it down as well, the rate increases. But as soon as you turn it all the way up, like for example 5 seconds, now it waits 5 seconds and then the clap plays. If I turn it back down to something very short, you can see that we still need to wait those 5 seconds before it actually goes to the new value. So let's make our own custom one that updates whenever the value changes. So let's go in here. I prepared some stuff in here. I prepared the inputs and outputs. First of all, this is using the one-shot interface, meaning that it has an unfinished. The inputs are a start and a stop trigger, the number of repeats as an integer, and the period in time. I'm also using the output to have a repeat out trigger. So let's remove this for a second. The thing that we're going to be using for this trigger is a square wave. The square wave is just a wave that goes up to down, and we can use this audio and turn it into a trigger. So first of all, let's drag out our period, and we need to turn this period into a frequency somehow. What we're going to do is we're going to turn this to a float first of all, so that we can start calculating the frequency. And the way frequency works is that frequency is 1 divided by the period in seconds. So we get a divide node, and we just divide 1 by the period. And now we can use this as the frequency. Now, before I plug this in directly, we actually want to multiply this with 0.5, because otherwise the output of the audio would update twice per cycle, since the square wave goes up and then halfway through the cycle it goes down. We don't want this. We want to use half of the period, and now this works as intended. We also want to enable it whenever we press start, and we want to disable it when we press stop. So I'm going to drag these out here, and we're going to do a value check. So value of a bool. I'm going to set and reset. The target value is enabled and the initial value is disabled. Let's plug this in here. So now whenever we press play, the target value will become yes, and yes, the square wave is enabled. If we then press stop, then it will go back to no, and no, the square wave won't play. Now, how do we turn this into an out trigger? Let's drag out our repeat out over here. And let's start doing some conversions. First of all, we're going to turn this audio to float. As you can see, this is the only option. So audio to float, and then we need to turn this float into an integer. So float to int, there. Now we don't want to connect this directly, because if we do this and start actually measuring what comes out, you'll see that this audio doesn't go from -1 to +1. It actually goes from 0.9999 to -0.9999. And then if we turn this into an integer, this will not actually result in a 1. It will be rounded down, so it will go from 0 to 0. We don't want that. The simple workaround is to simply add 0.5, like that. Now it will go from 0 to 1 as an output. The next step is to convert this int into a trigger. So we need a trigger on value change. So now whenever the integer changes from 0 to 1 or vice versa, we get a trigger. Now, if we were to connect this directly to the repeat out, we would essentially already achieve what we want, except for the first trigger, because actually what should happen is that as soon as you press play, we get the first repeat out and then the next one follow. So what we definitely need is a trigger any, like so, and one of the any is the start input. So on start, it will give out the first repeat, and the next one will be this one. But we need some stuff in between to make this a little fancier. We have our onFinished node, and we have the number of repeats. We want to check if the number of repeats has been reached or not. So let's do a trigger counter, and let's count how many triggers we've had so far. So this one goes in here, and then we can do a compare node. So you can type in branch. It's a cool trick. And we will compare two integers. Let's move this aside. So we're going to compare the current count to the number of repeats that we actually want. I'm going to move this down here. And if this number is greater than or equals, we can do our unfinished here. The other one can be plugged straight into here. So now we are complete. Okay, we have our period over here getting turned into a frequency. The start and the stop enable and disable the square wave. The audio output gets turned into a trigger over here, and then the triggers get counted, where the final trigger of the number of repeats results in an onFinished. All of the other triggers get sent to the repeat out, including the last one. So let's save this and see what it looks like. Let's replace this one with the trigger repeat. So MSB trigger repeat. This is the one that we made just now. So let's plug this in here, like so. And let's see. Now it's playing at 0.5 seconds. If I turn this up really high to 5 seconds and then turn it back down, you can see that it instantly has an effect. So we have a way more responsive trigger out this way. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you can use this in your own MetaSounds. I hope you get some really creative solutions for your sound problems. And let me know what you think in the comments. So that's it. Bye, guys.